Hello, beautiful people. I hope you've had a good week and God is blessing you and helping you in all your endeavors. It's Pastor Derek and Sel Julia from the Marriage School, and we are coming your way today again with part 2 of our series on ways in-laws can ruin marriages. So last week we had a look at part 1. We learned a couple of things, and this week we are blessed to have Pastor Derek with us, looking all lovely in his blue and yellow tie, blue suit and yellow tie, and I'm sure he has something for us. Let us make him welcome. You're welcome, Pastor Derek.
Thank you.
You look so good in blue and yellow.
Thank you so
Every
much.
time, blue really looks good on you.
you.
So how have you been? Please.
By the grace of God, I'm well, and I hope you are well too.
God is helping us. So we looked at part 1 of the ways in-laws can ruin marriages, and I'm sure you've got a couple of things for us to learn today as we look at part 2. So the ball is in your court.
All right, thank you. Hello everyone. Please share the video and click on the subscribe button so that you can get more of these videos. Right, so the 6th thing, last week we looked at 5 things that in-laws do that can ruin marriages. We look like when they deny their privacy, the new couple, their privacy, when they place undue financial burden on them, when they make the in-law become like a family servant, okay, when they send them on unnecessary errands, when they control or interfere or impose their will, and then when they visit unannounced. Today we are going to look at when they visit and never leave. Okay, sometimes some in-laws,
when they take a permanent residence in the home of the
either
couple.
planned or unplanned, all of a sudden then a mother or a father now decide that I'm going to live with my son, I'm going to live with my daughter. You know they are married. Sometimes you even go, you say that you are just coming for a 3-day visit. By the time we realize 3 days is past, 1 week is past, then 2 weeks, then 1 month, then 2 months, and you are there. And sometimes when you ask, grandma or grandpa, when are you living? I'm in my son's house. I'm in my daughter's house.
Sometimes it's even difficult for you to ask them.
So you can't even ask.
You don't want them to feel you want them out of your house. So you just endure.
Are you trying to sack me from my son's house?
This
are
is
you trying to sack me from my daughter's house? Okay, then you are there. You want to be comfortable. We understand. But you are inconveniencing the young couple and you are placing impediments in their marriage. Because your presence brings some level of stress. If you don't know, I'm telling you, your presence brings some level of stress to your own son or daughter, but even more so to the in-law. They can't be themselves. They can't talk to your son or your daughter the way they want, which helps the marriage to gel and do well. They can't play certain games. They can't do certain things.
They can't tickle each other.
They can't tickle each other. Okay, even when they are doing things, they can't make noise. They can't disturb. They can't do, because they are shy. They are intimidated by your presence. Okay, so try your best that when you visit, you will leave early. And to connect to that, to connect to that as well, don't be quick to send younger brothers and the younger nephews and things
to go and live
with them. The guy was going to school comfortably where he is. Once your son marries or your daughter marries and they are living in their matrimonial home, then you send this one, go and live with them and go to school on that side. Okay, and then this person is living with them. Every little thing they see, then they call.
They report.
This is what Monica's husband is doing. This is what Frank's wife is doing. And they are feeding you with information. And then you are using that information to now call and cause confusion and create all those other things. You don't want to plant monitoring spirits in your son's marriage or your daughter's marriage. Okay? Let that young guy be where they are. I grew up in a family like that. Okay? Where a nephew, one of my father's nephews, was sent to come and live with us, and the kind of problems he caused my mother and caused their marriage, it was no good.
Was he reporting back?
He was creating also, the guy was bad, creating all sorts of problems. And if my mother would say it, then it brings conflict between her and my father, because it's like, you don't want my family people around. Don't do that. Allow your son or your daughter who goes into marriage to experience the full joy of the marriage. Don't send emissaries to follow. And so it's like your son or your daughter has left home, but it's not fully left.
Yeah.
Because the chains are still connected. The umbilical cord is not cut yet.
It's not fully cut.
It's not fully cut. It's not good.
It's still hanging.
It's not good. Try your best. Try your best. If the person should go and live with a stranger, it's even better. Allow your son or your daughter who goes into marriage that independence. Don't go and stay there and never leave, or send anybody to go and live with them permanently just because it's your son or your daughter. It's not good. It can cost your son or your daughter their marriage.
So let me just add this quickly. One thing that the in-laws or a lot of us don't know is that the beginning of the marriage is extremely important.
Very fragile.
It is very, very important. And if certain things are not put in place at the beginning of it, it's like building a house and having the foundation wrong. So this young couple just got married and they are starting their life, and you just move to go and live with them, and then they start having problems, issues. It's going to escalate. They will not be able to have the right foundation, make the mistakes they want to make, feel free to be who they are, and learn to bond and connect with each other and create their own marital culture. By the time you realize you have influenced them, and in a couple of years and when the marriage breaks, you will not understand it, but probably it might be your presence in the house that stopped them from building a solid foundation for their marriage. So we need to be very careful of some of these things. I know it's funny when you visit, please leave.
Leave quickly. Leave quickly.
Don't stay there for 6 months. Don't stay there for 1 year.
You are there. You change the culture completely. You change the atmosphere, and it's not helping your son. It's not helping your daughter. They can't tell you. That's why they've sent me to come and tell you. Okay. So change. The next thing that can ruin your son or your daughter's marriage because you are an in-law is when you show disrespect to the in-law. Okay? When you show disrespect to your son's wife or your daughter's husband constantly, eventually they will bottle it up and give it back to your son or your daughter that they are married to.
Good measure. Press down,
and
shake it together.
Okay.
Run it over, will they give it back?
Yeah. So if you want your in-law to respect your son or your daughter, you first show them respect. Sow the seed of respect. Show your son-in-law a lot of respect. Talk to him with respect. Show your daughter-in-law a lot of respect. Know that they are also somebody's son, somebody's daughter. Sometimes we treat these in-laws who come in as if they were trash, they were picked from the roadside, and because you have taken your son to university and his wife is just coming to, you don't know the investment that her parents have also made in her. You think you took your daughter to the best place to go and read her masters. You don't know the investment that the husband's parents have also made in them. Okay? Everybody is precious from the family they are coming from. Not only your son. Your son is not the only important person. Your daughter is not the only important person. The other family's daughter or son who is coming to marry yours is also precious. And in their home, they respect them. So don't think that because they've come to marry your son or your daughter, now they are exposed for any form of disrespect. Respect yourself and respect them. Talk to them with honor and respect them. Let them feel that they have come to a good home. Because when you abuse them and you mistreat them, you insult them, you shout at them, it's because they are married to your son or your daughter. Eventually, they'll give it back to your daughter or your son because they believe that is the language you understand. Okay, you spoil the culture for them. If you want your son to be treated with honor and dignity, you first show it to the person they are marrying to. They are getting married to. Show them a lot of respect. When your daughter-in-law comes around or you visit, treat your daughter-in-law like your own daughter or like a princess. Treat your son-in-law like a prince. Talk to him with so much respect. It doesn't devalue you. It shows you have values. It shows you have manners. It shows that you are posh. It shows you have etiquette. You have class. Okay, don't this kind of culture where we treat in-laws like they are nothing. It's past. It belongs to the bush. Stop doing it. Give your son-in-law and your daughter-in-law a lot of respect, and they will give it back to your son or your daughter that they are married to.
Unfortunately, Pastor, some of these in-laws take advantage, and they, because of our cultural practices, sometimes you say, okay, I'm older than you, so I can talk to you anyhow, I can disrespect you, and then they get surprised when they they receive it back,
Yeah.
they get shocked, like, how dare you talk to me like that? But they have forgotten that they started
sowed the seed.
They sowed the seed. And sadly, we are told that most of the things they tell us, or it goes in one way, the children or the younger one need to show the adults respect, but they don't really stress on the adults also showing the younger one that respect. So this is really important. You set it as an example that this is how I want us to relate with each other in a respectful, honorable way. So I talk to you with respect so that the in-laws will also do the same to you, the adults.
Powerful. Okay, so the next one is when you support your son or your daughter against their spouse in times of conflict. Okay.
Nani, that's a big one.
When you support your son or your daughter against their husband or wife in terms of conflict. I'm not talking about when they are abusing. Okay. When your daughter comes home with bruises, I don't need to advise you that you need to go out there and show the guy some sense. When your son comes home with blood that his wife has done this to him, by all means, okay, support your son. Okay, I'm not saying that even if your daughter or your son is being killed in marriage, let them be killed. No, but sometimes in marriage there is conflict, there's misunderstanding. Sometimes your son's wife is not happy that maybe your son shouted at her in a way. You don't stand behind your son. Yeah, he's a husband, so what do you expect? He has authority. The Bible says that you must submit. So if he shouts at you, don't worry. You just have to allow him to shout at you. Don't do things like that. If your daughter-in-law is hurt that your son has shouted at her, you are the one who should call your son behind the scenes and say, you don't treat somebody's princess like that. You don't treat somebody's royal like that. Learn to treat your wife with respect. Learn to honor your husband. Don't go back and apologize. Go and submit to your husband. Go and treat your wife right. Go and do things right. You should be the one pushing your husband to be, your son to be the best husband. You should be the one pushing your daughter to become the best wife.
Daddy, you know, sometimes they bring this issue of blood is blood. I cannot defend
an outsider. You are just an outsider.
Yes, this is my blood. This is my son. This is my daughter. I cannot defend an outsider against my own.
Then you don't understand marriage in the context of the Bible. In the context of the Bible, it's not about natural blood. But the Bible says that henceforth we know no man after the flesh. Okay, the Bible says that and the two shall become one flesh. Okay, so in marriage, the true blood in God's eyes is the husband and wife. You are cut off. So that's why the Bible says that for this reason shall a man, listen to the Bible, for this reason shall a man leave his mother and father.
Leave you, the mother
and father, and cleave himself to his wife. The wife also leave mother and father and cleave to the husband. And the two, not the two plus the extended family. Not the 6, not the 7, not the 2 plus mother and father, just the 2 become one flesh. You are cut off in God's eyes. So don't be a traditionalist, be a Christian. Don't be a traditionalist, be a Christian. God doesn't recognize you in that marriage. So stay away. It's beyond your jurisdiction. It's beyond your jurisdiction. Allow them to flourish. The only thing you can do is to encourage them to do well.
Pray for them.
Pray for them and encourage your son to treat that woman right. Encourage your daughter to treat that man right. Of course, where there is abuse and your daughter or your son's life is in danger, stand in and deliver them. But apart from that, don't always go every little thing. You are supporting your daughter or your son against their wife or their husband. It's wrong. It's wrong. When you do that, eventually that man will leave for you to marry your daughter.
Yeah.
That woman will leave for you to marry your son,
yeah,
if that's what you want. Okay? You don't want that. Okay. Yeah.
Are we on for?
Yeah. We can another one. When another way in-laws disturb the marriages of their sons or daughters is when they impose their own spiritual values on the new person who has come in. Okay, in our family we dress like this for religious reasons.
So you have to.
Your son sees another woman, let's say in your family, and I'm not saying this against any style of dressing that you have, any form of religious dressing that you have, that is your belief and I respect it. Okay, but in our family, maybe we always have to wear turban and we wear long gown. Okay, your son sees you people in the house he's not attracted to you, he goes to marry a lady who dresses modestly. I personally don't believe in mini skirts and dressing to show your breasts and all these long nails and painting unnecessarily. Okay, but like he's met a girl maybe at work or in school. She dresses decent, clean, but doesn't go overboard. He marries her. You can't be my in-law and dress like this. Here, gown, wear. Here, turban, wear. Makeup, wash everything. Now, dry face, remove the earrings. You can't be my daughter-in-law. Listen, she is not married to you. She is married to your son. Your son saw her in that state and loved her and married her. Allow the lady to be. Don't go and impose your traditional or religious beliefs on that lady who has come to marry your son. Don't impose it on that man who has married your daughter. In this our family, we do this. If you marry a daughter, then you have to change and begin to do this. You can't do that. It's beyond your jurisdiction. If the lady herself decides that this is how I want to dress from today, praise God. But don't go and force people when they come to marry in your family. You force them to convert to become like your family. It's wrong. It's wrong. So they will do it, but it's not in their heart. It's not in their heart. And it's a bad thing. It builds up stress. It affects the quality of their marriage. It's not good. It's not good. Allow people to be. Sorry. And it's not only dressing. Even food. Somebody comes to marry your son by force. You should stop eating what they eat and then only eat what you eat in your family. It's wrong. The person didn't grow up with those kind of food. The person didn't grow up with your culture. Don't force people. When I was going to marry my wife, it's one of the things that nearly pushed me away. Because some of the family members will come around and they'll start speaking to me in her language. And they'll say, oh, I don't understand. I'm not from that tribe. And they'll use that language to impose on me. You must learn it. You must learn it. You don't have that right to force me to learn.
You didn't learn my language.
I won't learn. Okay? You don't have that right to force somebody who's coming to marry your daughter to learn your language. If they want to learn it, allow them to learn. But you don't force them. You must learn my language. You don't force somebody's daughter come to marry your son. You must learn our dressing. You must learn our dance before you can marry our son. It's wrong. Let's stop these things. Let's stop these things.
I'm just thinking, do you think it's extremely important that, during courtship, some of these things are discussed? For instance, if the man lives in a family or comes from a family where they eat a particular type of food or they dress in a particular way, don't you think it's good that the man will make the lady aware that this is what my family does? However, you are not under any obligation to do that. And if it happens that you'll be forced to do it, you have assurance from me that I'll protect you.
I will protect you. You see, one of the biggest things that disturb these things that we have sons and daughters, husbands and wives, who are not ready to defend their spouses against their own family members.
Let me just come in here. That is very true. But there are some of these in-laws, they are just impossible. Sometimes it's not that the man doesn't want to defend, or maybe he wants, but you haven't met some of these mothers-in-law who don't listen to anything.
It's your own mother. It's your own father.
You'll be there, they'll just slam the door, enter, push you the man aside.
Mommy, you can't. It's my house. You are my mother. But you will not you will not walk into my house and slam. You won't do that.
Pastor, that's you. But we need to let some of the young men who don't have that.
You've got to learn to be strong.
That's it. That if you need to learn for the sake of your wife, for the sake of your family, the children, because if your in-laws are able to control you and your wife, you know that the children are nothing. Yeah, they can control. And in the same way, I think we also need the ladies to be able to stand to stand for their spouses in relation to their in-laws, so that the in-laws doesn't come in the house and start imposing things. And because you have some of these in-laws who don't listen, like they cannot be reasoned with. If it comes on them, you are either doing it or you are out.
For this reason shall a man leave his mother and father and cleave himself to his wife. If you cannot defend the person you have married against your family, you are a weak husband, you are a weak wife. You should be able to stand strong. Otherwise, don't marry the person. If you have not married yet, fine. If you think it will bring conflict and you don't want to marry, that's fine. But after you have married a person, God is expecting you to stand strong and defend your wife against your family members, and defend your husband against if they are not doing something that is good. Okay, it's not like just always just go and create problems. But if they are coming to harass your wife or your husband, God is expecting you to stand strong and fight for your wife, fight for your husband.
Because I've heard and seen some very, very weak men who have allowed their mothers to do, sometimes bringing them wives. That, okay, you've married a woman from a different tribe, we don't want her, we don't like their tribe, so I'm bringing you a wife from my tribe. And the women do that.
Yeah.
And these men are just, they are just there. I heard of it. My friend told me a story, and the man is dead now. The man married, his mother sort of held him to marry a lady, and his father also brought him another lady to marry. So he was living in the UK, but no, both of them were here. He had two wives. No, one was the one that he loved and everything was in Ghana, and his girlfriend, or the second one that the father or mother brought, was here. He had 3 children with his wife, and had 4 children with a woman that they brought, and both of them were his wives. So when he goes to Ghana, he had a wife. Then when he comes here, he had a wife. And the family, the woman, his mother was backing wife A, daddy was backing wife B,
and he was in the middle.
He was in the middle.
This is a man who has not grown up.
Pastor, the problem arose when he died. Because wife A said, that's my husband, I want to marry him with mom's backing. Wife B said, this is my husband, I want to marry him with dad's backing.
You have to cut him in two, and one go and bury the other.
So we have some of these men that we need to let them know.
You have to be strong. You have to be tough. You have to be tough.
And I don't know whether this is true or not, but usually when you look at it, the problem is from the man's.
A lot
more because the woman's parents are not. They are. We are not saying they are not. The woman's parents are not that problematic as compared to. I may be wrong.
Because mothers are very passionate about their sons.
That's true.
Very passionate about their sons. And sometimes it's like, that's why some people easily say that maybe the mother has married the son spiritually and things like that. I personally am not so much. But sometimes some of the mothers, the love they have for their sons, it makes them behave in such a way that people can easily think that that is how it is. Let me give you the final one, and we'll finish with it. And that is when the in-laws are hostile to their son or daughter-in-law just because they've been married into the family. Sometimes,
but this is where the spiritual marriage comes.
Yeah, sometimes a mother. No, there are diverse ways. Okay. Sometimes the son or the mother or father, okay, or sometimes both, they so much love their son or their daughter, and they love them being free, being like unmarried, and being available and doing everything for them. Okay, living at home,
not living their lives for you.
That's it.
They also have a life to live, so living, you cannot just hold.
Yeah, living with them. Oh, if I need this, go and buy this, go and do that, clean the house, do this, and now the person is going to marry, and all of a sudden they begin to think, no, I don't want you to go and marry. So sometimes everybody who comes to marry their daughter, no, it's not good for you. It's not that it's not good for they don't want to release. Sometimes they hold on to their son so much that their son has found a wife, wants to go out and marry. They don't want to release.
And they cause a lot of problems.
Yeah. And they think that if they release their son or release their daughter, then they will lose something. And if their son or daughter insists and goes out to marry, then the war begins.
Because the secret to that, or the solution to that, is that allow the son to marry and take the wife as your daughter. So that you can relate more with the wife. And because when you are relating more with your wife, your son will even be happy that you like his wife, and whatever you want him to do, he'll gladly do it for you.
But many don't understand it that way. So what they do is that they begin to fight the in-law. Fight like they become like rivals. They begin to fight the in-law over their son or over their daughter.
That's very, very childish, and you should never put yourself in a position where you look like a rival to your child's spouse. That's very bad.
And so that they compete. Okay, so if the wife wants to cook chicken for the husband, then they also come, I'm also bringing you fish. Eat mine and leave your. It's like fighting for everything. If if once they see that, let's say the son is taking his wife to hospital for maternity, all of a sudden they will also faint, so that the son will leave the daughter, the wife, and come and take them to emergency. It's like they compete for everything. They fight. And when they realize that their son or their daughter is beginning to back their own spouse, then they start hating their own son or their own daughter. Start cursing them. I'm your mother. I'm the one who gave birth to you. You are choosing your wife over me. This will happen to you. That will happen to you. You are choosing your husband over me. And all those. Please, let us stop this evil behavior. Because if your son or daughter is not strong, eventually that marriage will not stand.
Yeah.
If the daughter-in-law or son-in-law is not strong, that marriage will not stand. What have you gained?
Nothing.
You ruin somebody's marriage for your selfish interest. It's wrong. Let's watch these things. Let us watch these things. Let's allow our sons and daughters to have fruitful marriages. Let's release them. Let's bless them. It's their turn. You've had yours. Allow your children to also flourish and have theirs.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this series on how in-laws can ruin marriages, Pastor Derek. God bless you abundantly. And I believe that we've learned something from it. We'll be better in-laws when the time comes, and God will help us. So God bless you. Please share the video. And if you are in London, we have our conference on the 9th of September at the Holiday in Bexley.
Yeah.
Don't forget to join us. All the information is on the page, is on our Facebook page. Please get in touch if you can. And God bless you. Be a great in-law. And until we come your way again next week, God willing, is Pastors Derek and Julia from the Mary School.
Bye-bye.
Bye.